YouTube. So Jessica Zvolak in the Lapeef page says, when talking about the wall, I understand what it means. But let's be clear. Just because some women are looking for financial gain and provision from a man regardless of age and will seek them out, let's stop acting like dudes inherently improve physically with age. Dad bods, impotence, balding, doesn't etc. doesn't exactly get the juices flowing. Just stop with the bullshit. I'm not personally saying anything about the male aging process, but I'm simply pointing out that both genders age and neither looks better than the other. And for the older men who know what a woman only that a woman only wants them solely for provision, I do not understand why that's acceptable to essentially be only good for one thing. I would never want to be with someone knowing that they only value me for one thing. Okay, that last part was absolutely atrocious. We know damn near most people get into situations for one thing. I'm quite, I probably shouldn't assume this, but anyway, I'm quite sure she has had, her fun and had it with a guy who was only good for fun. So let's stop doing that. But, I'll give her benefit of those and say that she meant in a long-term relationship. But here's my problem with that. I've heard how women talk about this whole the wall situation, and they always end up, men get fat too. That's not the only thing about the wall. I think they get this idea because they hear men talk about the aging part, and then knowing what they can get goes, their options get worse and worse and worse. So they only hear the get looks part. Now, I will say that a man, when I hear people talk about guys talk about the wall and then present it as that a man can literally just be 100 years old and get like a 20-year-old, something like that. Listen, we have this problem going back and forth with the average guy and the guy who has how they use the example of the guy, your income when you're 50 it goes up here and it does this. That's only for the top number of guys. Most people in this particular case, men, your income isn't going to shoot up at 50. You're going to go from making, $15 an hour ish forever. Then maybe you get your top promotion, but not everybody gets that management position. Maybe you stay at the machine and you top out at like $23 an hour or something like that. But even with that being said, let's take that average guy and who just gets that top pay at the machine. Well, the logic still stands, right? So let's say you do, and remember, the same people that she's leaving out, when they're talking about this, they do say, keep yourself in good shape. Now, obviously, the dad bods, you did it, right? You didn't keep yourself in good shape. You didn't work out, you didn't eat right. But let's just say you keep yourself in moderately good shape. 40, 45, I'll say that's when you have your best balance or best combination of earning, understanding life, and being able to, if you keep yourself in good shape, have the looks, which is still 10 to 15 years past the woman's, wall. And at this point, you wouldn't be at the wall, you would be in your prime 1 or 2 years. I think that's what doesn't get explained properly, and why women are allowed to come up with these, you guys get fat too. You guys, it's a really asinine thing to probably run into. So I think when we talk about the wall or anything like that, we need to start being super, super detailed and careful, because it allows them to do this goofy shit, which keeps circular arguments going around and around and around and around. And I'm quite sick of it. She looks to be probably 32, which probably is why she's upset with the wall. Let's look at. I'm not gonna look at all these comments, just some of them. When I went bald, the DMs went crazy. This. She says, I'm not personally saying anything bad about men aging. I'm simply saying that both genders. We know that. We know that. That's how you show how disingenuous the responses can be. I've never heard any of you talk about the wall and say men don't age. Come on, man. That's a woman should always look better than her man. It's already been shown. Men chase looks and physique. Women, okay, we both chase looks and physique, except men do it on a more long-term basis, right? Whereas women is like, I just want to. Women look for it for fun, and that's why the older guy who took care of himself and financially, meaning his finances, not his health or whatever, is able to get women at an older age. So it's long term. Dudes look for the physique by far the most, and women just look for it real quick, and then they look for the rest long term, which is how the wall conversation even comes up. The wall is undefeated because women need the validation and attention, and at that age they realize they don't get it anymore and aren't what they used to be. Men don't need that validation and attention. Exactly one. And I would have liked to see her respond to that, to see what she had to say. Hopefully we see her respond to a similar comment. Say what you want, but women were surveyed and they preferred dad bods. I think it's more out of insecurities and less competition, but the data represents. I'm glad he said that last part, because I was definitely going to come back to that. That I think the survey that they did, that people cite where women say they prefer dad bods, I think they did that on a account of, hey, I'm getting older and I don't want to attempt to keep up with someone who's in the gym all the time and taking care of themselves, which means not only are they going to be competitive, those are likely to be competitive and hard to keep up with when you're in a relationship with, which is not wrong. The only time we really get upset, ladies, when there's a trade-off is when you all admit openly that the guy you go and settle for gets treated like a settlement. Because dudes don't do that. When they realize that they're average and they're going to get an average chick, it's like, fuck it, let's live it up. So the whole you get treated like like this is that's what we call bullshit. Anyway, some women say they prefer bald men, but the wall is more just about beauty. It's about the onset of geriatric pregnancy, women making more money and only wanting to date men that make equal to them or more than them. Too many experiences, and the man has nothing new to show you. Baggage that makes women jaded, body count, all of this is less than of an issue with younger women. That was beautifully laid out. He brought up more than just the looks. That all of this at 30, that I don't know if women notice this, but ladies, you have you have a more of an attitude as you get older, right? Like you come across a guy, and you all say this. Like I did. I remember watching this BET when I was younger, which I probably had a horrible guardians because I was watching BET. But anyway, I was watching Comic View, and this lady was telling a joke about how a guy will think he's doing something new to her. And she's like, "What? Me and such and such did this in '96," and it's like, that's where your appreciation lies. Well, a big part of your appreciation lies in your man is being shown something new. That's why laughing at the jokes is a thing. Because it's like, oh, he's witty. Is when you don't have that, your appreciation for him dies, and it starts to become this blah relationship, and y'all have shown that y'all don't want that. She actually responded. Let's see what she has to say. Dad bods are cute to a degree, but it still doesn't negate my point that both genders age and neither looks better than the other. And you, again, didn't even address the bigger portion of what he said. You didn't address the pregnancy part. You didn't address the making more money part. You didn't address the the baggage and the appreciation of their partner. You just still focus solely on beauty. Let's see if she changes as she goes. Latoya says, a dad bod is not cute to a whole lot of us. We just aren't as bent out of shape about it. I'll poke him with this little Pillsbury belly, like, oh, it's cute, baby. But is it really cute? No. That's that's interesting. Is she saying that is that her way of saying that we can get over it, fuck it, whatever? Because again, it's not a bad thing as long as you take the trade off. She responds, haha, I was actually about to make the same point. Just because we love you regardless of your dad bod and aren't assholes about it doesn't mean we're drooling over it. Why make the point about drooling over it? And then this love thing, I when you're meeting at that age, are we really still talking about love? Your real shit. The other day, I was on the Facebook dating part, and this chick said, I'm looking for my soulmate. And she's like 37. Like, they really still after the age of 23. People are still talking about love is the important measuring part in long-term relationships. There's a huge difference. When you talk about a new guy to your best friend, what are the first three things you tell about him? He also says, when you talk about a new guy, what the fuck was that? She responds, the first three things I say about his looks, particularly his face. If he's cool, nice, and how he makes me feel. Which is a mistake, ladies. It's a mistake. When you talk about how you feel is a luxury. And I'm talking about the emotional part, the butterfly part. That's a luxury. Why don't people understand that that's a luxury? When you're old and aging, luxuries don't mean shit. Why do people focus on this luxury part? I don't get it. When you're 80, that luxury ain't gonna mean shit. You're gonna need somebody to come in there. You're gonna need your family member. You're gonna need something. Why do people keep focusing on the luxurious shit? I don't get that. Oh my God, they must still be going at it because it keeps resetting. Okay, have you ever dated a guy that you weren't necessarily attracted to, and why? No, I've only dated men I'm attracted to. He responds, most men think like you. Countless women date and marry men that aren't in love with or attracted. Some date men because they're safe or providers. And that's why I have said many times, it's important as a guy to know who you are and admit it. Whether you want to change it or not, it's important to know who you are and admit it. If you are this guy who's just safe, you need to admit that, because chances are you aren't getting actual treatment that every dude in front of you got. And you are going to be scapegoated if time comes after putting in all of that work. So lying to yourself doesn't work. Everybody's going to get old at some point. Thank you. Okay, yeah, but who has the most loyalty is the question we can ask. Because I've covered, I say it all the time, it's a great point. If you want to look it up, go ahead. It's divorce court, Jenkins versus Jenkins. When dudes can't hold up, what the woman want them to do, they're more than applauded for leaving. The other way around, we can't just leave y'all because y'all get old. Y'all can leave us for whatever the fuck reason and just say, what was I supposed to do? So I don't tolerate it's whatever. Like, I don't do that. The wall majorly pertains to childbirth, not necessarily attractiveness. It plays a point. It plays a part. Obviously, the attractiveness tells you. But Shantae says, men hit a wall as well. Your sperm quality decreases just like women. Yeah, but you still can get, depending on what he has, you still can get everything you want out of that guy. I want roof over my head. You can get that. I want protection. You can get that. Even if he's not like the bigger guys, which y'all clearly don't understand, he can carry a gun. Whatever. Let's skip some of this. Kyle says, let's be honest. I hear what you're saying. Let's take a step back for a second. Wow. Okay. We're not going to sit here and act as if every woman who is single doesn't have a price. Where the level of money a man has, regardless of his appearance, she would consider being in a long-term relationship with him, possibly even having his seeds. With men, Lizzo could be a billionaire and most men wouldn't touch her, nor even catch the dome from her, let alone marry her. With her current size, I know I wouldn't do any of the above. That's the difference. A dude could be 400 pounds, pimple all over his face, smell like molded cheese. And if you got billions, there are plenty of women who would find a way to make it work and get married to him. That's the difference. It's not bullshit. It's just the way we are wired. And I just came to this thought that there's levels to it, right? In terms of the looks on both sides. Men, with how they were going about the whole dad bod isn't cute, but I'll accept it. I'm starting to think, because the way women have this dichotomy mindset, meaning either you're as I'm watching wrestling, either you look like The Rock, or you look like fucking the male version of Lizzo, whoever the fuck that would be. Man, there's a lot of variations to it. Like, we talk about it on Riley's panel all the time. Like, you'll find a bunch of dudes who are okay with women that are about 20, 30 pounds overweight. The problem is if you go on these apps, like I just told you, I went on the whole Facebook dating thing, and you just do the like, just like everything. About 3/4 of the responses I got, or the matches I got, the chicks are about 350 pounds. And I'm quite sure they're all shorter than me. I'm 230. Now that's 30 pounds I could, if I want to have a six-pack, 30 pounds, if I just want to lose weight, 20. But they're in the 300s, I can tell by the pictures. There's huge, that is a huge margin to cover. That is huge ground to cover, right? So when we talk about dad bod, that's not even that far over. That's a month of working out and drinking water. When we get to hitting the wall and then this overweight stuff and all that, first of all, dad bods, I'm getting a little off track. Dad bods are reversible. Hitting the wall isn't. And I think that's one of the key things. So, but to finish the point that I accidentally got, sidetracked by, it isn't, a little bit of weight to compare it for men isn't a big deal. But it sounds like even, 10, 20 pounds for women is like, it ain't cute. And remember, she said, get the juices flowing. So damn, how much do y'all need, ladies? Do y'all need fucking perfection? And that right there, the fact that y'all need damn near perfection is where the wall really, really becomes problematic and really becomes a good talking point, because you all want so much shit. So that, yes, when you start to go down a little bit, yes, due to your desires and what you are, the position you're in is critical. Critical, fucking critical. Moving on. You're making too much sense. We don't do that here. Order in the court. No, 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 you're not. No, no, you're not. Kenneth says the wall is undefeated, and this post proves it. Even Hollywood doesn't like old women. The wall also goes after men, but they can defeat the wall with having money. Women can never. Money never. Women's money never matters, and that is why they can never defeat it. Again, you can also just, get in shape. Hire a trainer, hire a nutritionist, whatever, and go that route. Hell, there was a recent episode of Divorce Court. Now I'll just read just a few more, and we're at the bottom anyway. I'll read these last two, but there's a recent episode of Divorce Court in which this pretty chick got knocked up by one of these two guys, and they were both big fat black dudes. But you can tell that she was playing this game with them to try and get, some child support or whatever. And now that's obviously a messy example, but that still shows that there is some desirability in men beyond, the looks. And to be fair, it could be in women beyond the looks, but you all are actively in this situation to where only after you're like 40 is where it's like, all right, fine. But in this modern era of y'all talking so much shit, dudes is like, you've been talking shit for 20 years. Ain't no fine. At this point, like, when I look at these panels and watch these shows and stuff, and a lot of guys say, we're at the point of mainstream, women will, this will be understood and all that. Listen, the fact that you got the fact that the metaphorical shit had to get beat out of you just for you to say, all right, I'll be reasonable. I can never fully put that naive 100% in a relationship, and I can guarantee you that most dudes are kind of like that today, with hearing all this shit over the past 5 to 10 years that y'all have been talking. So this idea of dudes going back into that all in, look past, all the old shit. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. So I think it's going to be, let's get back to these comments. I'll read these last 3 actually. Good thing we're so different because I do not care. Don't matter how old I am or how I look when I get old. As long as I have money, I'll still be able to get my meat wet and needs met. The fact is, men who are financially well off in their 50s have more options than any woman in her 50s. I know a 45-year-old man right now smashing 25-year-old women than his 25-year-old son. And his son is actually doing much better than most his age. Again, we have to stop using the exceptional to make our points because that's not normal. Rob Jules Rude says, expand here. The things that women value are not things anybody in our age bracket set. Society has just gotten so comfortable and easy for humans in the Western world that we forget why we had genders in the first place. You can travel through any point in history. You can look at religion, etc. The key for men has always been the ability to provide. Provide takes on different forms through the centuries, but it's still the basic principle. Men provide security, stability, and women provide good looks. You may say that money does nothing for you, but in the small minority of women, men don't want to be rich to have average-looking chick. And majority of beautiful girls don't want an average provider. That's just the way it is. He had me at the beginning, but then he kind of gave it's all for whatever anyway, and kind of response at the bottom. Ladies, just remember that the wall also exists for all the males who don't meet your height, 6-pack, 6 figures, and 6 inches, etc. requirements. So many of y'all have built a wall around yourself, so let's not play crazy about walls. That's pretty much a more short-term answer of what I gave earlier. I'll leave you with this example and be done. So, as some of you know, I was doing Lyft for about 4 to 6 weeks during the summer, just to see how it went, see how much money I can make. Not a lot, obviously, but I met, you know, I met a lot of people, but in this specific case, I've met a lot of women who were like single moms or, older women. I'll actually leave you with a couple examples, actually. So there's one woman who was about somewhere in her 50s, early 50s. One thing that she told me was she had a man 20 years ago. They had an argument. She told him to get the fuck out. He left, and she's been single since. The reason I stopped doing her Lyft is because she stopped working at the place I was taking her to because she ended up in the hospital. The she simply was just breaking down, working this job for about $12 an hour, I believe. She had to pay rent, and she lived in. It's not the projects, but it kind of resembled the projects because that's what she could afford. And now here she is having to pay me, and I became her regular because I always offer people when that route seems to fit my day. If they want to do it regular at a reduced rate, but still reduced for them, but more money for me off the app. And so she had to spend all this money on rent and transportation and not much money for anything else. And she had to, when the person ended up calling me to let me know not to come by and pick her up, was her sister, who was married, because her sister had to be by her side because she didn't have any children or a man, so her sister had to pick up the slack. I don't know what she's doing now. I don't communicate with her, but that's one thing to think about. And then the next example I have is this woman. She's around my age. I didn't ask her exactly what her age was, but she's around my age. Has a son. Also, she lives in the hood and has to pay for, Lyft rides. At some point she was, before me, she told me she was paying like, I think they cost anywhere from 37 to like 40, $47, $48 just to get to work. So I met her in the middle there. And now let's take that into consideration. She makes below $40,000 a year. Let's not give it exact numbers, but she makes below $40,000 a year. And she pays me $200 she pays me $100 a week for transportation, in which she used to pay over $200. She used to pay over $250 for transportation just to get to work. Never mind on the way back. She used to ride with, I think she had a co-worker, but just to get there, she used to pay over $250 a week. But she still pays $100, right? Now on top of that, rent, and has a son. And when I would ask her, I kind of always try to ask people questions, try to figure out, not, I guess de facto being nosy, but not really. She said, I always been on my own. And it was basically one of those, I'm used to this. So on my own and struggle will be, which is kind of funny because women call just simply dating down struggle low, but yet this is the idea for some of them, apparently. And just plug in a guy who makes exactly what she makes, right? Let's say her baby daddy, she didn't do the whole just have a baby by a dude who they won't work out. Let's say she put being stable before having fun. I don't know if she put fun first, or I don't know. But let's just say that's what she did. Put stable before having fun. Would she be having transportation issues right now? Would she be, living in, the hood with her son and trying to, you know, having these issues with she? With the last older lady I talked about, if she simply focused on being stable than being independent, would she have these problems? That's what y'all don't understand here about this whole wall thing. Yes, some of you who are cute, that lady who posted this originally, she's cute. She's cute enough to get by with ignoring the wall. She can still. It looks like she can get to about 50 and go, "Oh fuck, let me find this dumbass." But a lot of and this is not to be an asshole. Now I think a lot of y'all take this as men being assholes. Maybe you heard the wrong guy talk about it. Maybe you heard a bitter guy talk about it. But just like a lot of us aren't that rich guy, just like a lot of us aren't that baller that apparently isn't attractive, just like a lot of us isn't that guy with the six pack, a lot of y'all aren't cute. A lot of y'all are just okay. A lot of y'all are just, she's there. And you can't wait till 40 and think that a guy is really going to just empty out, a couple bedrooms for you and your kids to move in. Or even adjust it. Like, and I know this is a tad bit of a ramble, but like, let's say I went ahead and found a chick who, whether it's off one of the dating apps or no, just whatever. I found a chick, right? Hell, that's just the example of the chick that I gave who has the son that I drive. Let's say me and her, right? Would it be worthwhile to give up waking up on a Saturday morning doing whatever the fuck I want? Would it be worthwhile? I've only seen her in the dark, so I'm not sure how cute she is. I don't know. Would it be worthwhile having I dated a single mom before, and simply having to go to doctor's appointments for her kids is a fucking task. That's why men don't go to the doctor. But would any of that be worth it for somebody who is just okay looking? Would it, just like y'all say, would it be worth it to give up fun to be in a stable relationship with a dude who's just average? Ask that shit the other way around. Because post 30, even the cute ones are just okay at that point. If you have a kid, you at most can be, unless you are just fire prior to the kid, you be okay. Because that's a lot of fucking work. Anyway, that's my breakdown of the wall that women like to misrepresent. So, be right, not positive. I'm out.